Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Good day, all of you beautiful people out there watching us on Leadership TV. This is Money Radio, today being Monday, and this is the National Economist segment of the program. My name is Case Harmon. I'm your host, and in the studio with me is Mr. Anthony Uko. You're welcome.
You.
Yes, today we're discussing a topic that says how cybercrime could weigh on Nigeria's economy. How cybercrime could weigh on Nigeria's economy. We're going to explore the following questions. What is cybercrime in the first place? We're going to see how wide is the crime? How wide is cyber activities in Nigeria? And we're talking about cyber transactions, and then we'll also see how cybercrime can be prevented or at least reduced to some degree of to some minimum, and all of this Insa is in the studio, and I can assure you are in good company with Insa inside the studio. You are in good company to get answers to those questions. So Insa, you're welcome again.
Thank you.
Yes, what is cybercrime first of all? What is cybercrime? Let's look at that. We have to mention that right now Nigeria is exploring. In fact, the central bank is increasing efforts at making sure that Nigeria does, or Nigerians do, transactions using e-naira. So we talk about e-naira, we talk about our transfers from your phone to my phone or from my bank account to your bank account. We talk about a host of other things that we do online. That is cyber transaction. It's not so. Yes.
Electronic transaction.
Yes, electronic cyber transaction. That is it, right?
Yes.
Great. Now, with all of this now, there is this report that cybercrime is actually increasing. Globally, it's being estimated that cybercrime could cost the global economy $10 trillion by 2025. Right now, it's $6 trillion. And an expert, a stakeholder, recently said that with $6 trillion cybercrime globally in the world right now, we're talking about $6 trillion. If the federal government does not take, or if Nigerians don't take this issue of cybercrime seriously, then there is nothing that should be taken seriously. What's your thoughts?
Yeah. A lot of, with the advent of the ever increasing innovation in the technological space, we see a lot of transactions going away from the usual brick and mortar transactions that people do in the banks and all that, moving more electronic or into the cyberspace.
By the way, the banking halls are now empty.
Yes, more often than not, you find many banking halls empty.
And you can even open your account online.
Yes, you can even open your account now online, submit all the documentations that you need to, just scan them and send, take your passport, use your device to take a passport and scan your signature, your fingerprint, and send, and you get a complete account with everything completed online with minimal physical presence.
Yes, I sometimes when I use the ATMs of, I'm sorry for diverting, but sometimes when I use the ATMs at the bank, uh, at banks, the outside of banks, when I'm done with my transaction, they usually give me the option: do you want to open an account?
Yes, of course, of course. Many of the ATMs have that function.
Yeah.
And so there are so many activities that you can do, and so in the process, a lot of people, um, if they are not careful, leave their sensitive information out there, and or maybe some systems, some people, especially when it comes to ATM, at times some of these criminals find a way of um, doing some things that when an ATM card is inserted, um, the identity on it is cloned,
Yeah.
and it can be used for web transactions and all that. So there are so many ways that cybercrime has taken a wider dimension with the all the ways that the central bank here in Nigeria and globally, there's been widespread adaptation for online transactions and all that.
Yeah, this is one of the things this is one of the fears that were expressed when the central bank was introducing the e-naira. We will come to that. There has been this report that cybercrime could contribute something like 0.08% of to Nigeria's GDP. That is much, although it's not up to 1%. But when we talk about 0.08%, where it's almost 1%, and 1% of Nigeria's GDP is something in the neighborhood of say 5 billion. 5 billion. $5 billion. We're not talking about naira here. $5 billion. That is no small money. And many times I've seen a number of persons, I'm talking about people who are close to me, people who are not very close to me. I have seen many people complain about their monies being actually wiped out from their accounts.
Yes.
How do these things happen? And, just recently, there was a colleague who complained that for up to 2-3 months he wasn't receiving salary. And how did it happen? It's something that there was some mistake with the bank and a loan shark that he had had this encounter with, and before he knew it, he wasn't receiving salary until he had to go and threaten from the CBN. All of those things are actually constituting a menace to society. But let's come to this issue of cybercrime in Nigeria. The experts who we quoted in this story, this is national economy. The experts we quoted said cybercrime can be committed on the web using point of sale, that is POS, using the ATMs, and a host of other, the internet and all of that. Yes, with all of those, it's should I say months or years? In recent years, there is everywhere, virtually everywhere, including villages that you go to, it's easier to get money using the POS. It's like bank is everywhere, at every back door.
Yes.
There is a bank there, because once you have this POS service, that's a bank.
Of course.
You can deposit money there, you can withdraw money there, you can send money, and you can do all of that. Now, it's scary when you talk about people using POS. That is that POS. When you talk about people using POS as a vehicle for cybercrime, it's scary, because we are gradually being more dependent on the use of POS.
Yes.
Yes. So it's scary. It's really scary. And
Yes, and it's this POS thing is not just in the rural areas or in the areas where there are few banks that you have them. Even in areas where there are so many banks, you still find a huge number of POS operators
yeah,
everywhere. And especially during this public holiday period,
yes.
when you go to the bank ATMs,
You see
you
money.
find out that there's no money in the bank ATMs.
It's more
But
likely to receive
yes,
money to get money
yes,
from the POS.
but the POS,
They're always there.
definitely there's money there. So it's as if the banks themselves
They are
are kind
pushing
of,
the
yes, pushing
responsibility.
all those responsibilities to the POS operators, who of course do that at a fee, who
Yes.
do their transactions at a fee.
Yeah.
So, but in the process, it's not actually wrong that the POS operators are there, because they actually make it easy for people to access their funds. Imagine where even the service charge. Let's say the minimum they charge is 100 naira.
Yes. For
And
every 5,000, or some places for every 10,000.
Yes, in
not
some
bad.
places for 10,000. And if you have to maybe like take some means of transportation to go to where the nearest ATM is,
You
to
can see
go
that.
there and come back, you would have spent that already.
Yes.
So it's like a convenience charge
Yes.
for you to do, and it's fast, it saves time.
Yes.
It makes access to money readily available. And in the process, the recent figures shows that the CBN, they've been able to reduce the number of unbanked adults
Exactly.
from about 58% to 38%.
That's good statistics. Yes.
So with that, right now we have in the neighborhood of 38 million adults
That are not banked.
are not banked. So
And the thing is reducing.
it's actually reducing, and
Yes.
this is as a result of this POS operators. But as useful as it is, there has been many cases of fraud committed with this.
Yes.
In fact, there was one that happened recently with someone I know. She went to a certain POS, and then she finished withdrawing money using the POS. And then when she left, before she could even go far, she started getting alerts of withdrawals that she did not make.
Hmm.
She started getting withdrawals alerts that she didn't make, and immediately she ran back to that to the POS operator.
Yeah.
And it's like, and funny enough, she had collected her card,
Yes.
an ATM card. It was with her, but those withdrawals where monies were being withdrawn from her account.
Yes.
So she rushed back, but even at that, she still did not get that reversal on that point, because the person insisted he's not aware of it, and they have to go to the bank and go and ascertain. So many issues went on with that.
So what we're saying here. This is cybercrime, or I don't know if it's a technological hitch, or a technical glitch, somehow, whichever way we want to call it. But like the case you just cited, money was being withdrawn, and the person is saying, "I have no idea. I'm not aware of anything that is going on." And the person did not, at least up to the point where you are aware of, the person did not get the money. Yeah, this is. I've had situations where with those POS machines, you insert. There are some of them that have camera.
Yes.
You can just get your information,
Yes.
and before you know it, you are you are in for it. And all of these things are fears that
Yes.
we can entertain.
Yeah,
Because
and then there's another incident that is becoming widely, that is becoming prevalent: stolen um, PIN. You
yes,
know, some people will call and claim to be from a particular bank,
yes,
and then one
yes,
way or the other, they will end up getting the person to release
it's yes,
um,
unsuspecting people
yes, to
release
release
it.
their data,
Yeah,
and especially ATM pins, or maybe the three digits at the back of the ATM card and all that.
I've received
Just
several of such calls,
I have
and
I
the
have
last time I received, it was just last week. I received similar call, and I told this guy. When he called, he started talking. I told him, "I wish I had enough time to spare to waste
your
your airtime."
airtime.
But before I said it, he started insulting me. But like sometimes when I have the time, I like to make full of them, engage
Engage
them, make full
them.
of them, and sometimes you learn from it. But make sure you don't release any
Any
information.
information.
Sometimes they you request just to say yes, or you just call the number which they are calling to you.
Yes, and some of them, when they have access to someone's account and they have created, maybe where someone did not create a mobile banking account.
Yes.
So they can use the phone number, they can use the bank account, and when that happens, when the account number, and when that happens, a notification is sent
Yes.
to the phone number that is linked to that account.
Yes.
And they just call, and they will just call, oh, I wanted to do a transaction, and then I mistakenly sent, I mistakenly missed a number, and the message that ought to come to my phone came to yours. Can you just forward it to me? And many unsuspecting people end up forwarding that code to them and handing over access of their account to these fraudsters.
Yes. Yeah. The banks will usually say X bank, Y bank, Z bank will never send a message requesting your PIN, or your this or your that. If any one of them want to do, they have all of the information. So don't answer these people. Let's take a short break.
Immediately they do that, you are required to go into your banking halls and rectify whatever they said is wrong.
Exactly.
And when you get there, you find out that there is nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with your account. So let's take a short break. When we come back, we want to talk more about how this thing is going to impact Nigerians as we evolve into online transactions more and more. Stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back during this beautiful holiday season. You're still on to Money Radio, and this is National Economy segment of the program on Leadership TV. In the studio with me is Anthony Puko. She's still here, and I'm your host, Case Hammond. We are discussing a topic that says how cybercrime is weighing on Nigerian economy. And we were talking about some of the crimes that are being perpetrated by criminals. Yes, criminal elements in society. And if you're not careful, if you are one of those gullible persons and you don't have enough knowledge, this could actually affect you personally. Yes, personally, because you could lose money. And, there is an information, a report that says this is worth something like 0.08% of the Nigerian economy, of the Nigerian GDP. If you put that into real figure, it's close to $5 billion that is being lost to cybercrime, or cyber criminals are actually feasting on Nigeria. So this is something we need to take extra caution of. Now, Nigeria is actually evolving more rapidly toward cyber or online transactions. Yes. Based on what the CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Central Bank of Nigeria expressed fear about cryptocurrencies and decided at the time to instead, that was late last year, to instead introduce e-naira. Yes, a currency that is that they can back. As for cryptocurrencies such as, let me not call names, you can't back it. You can't back such currencies. But when it comes to the e-naira, it is backed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. It's something that is linked to your account. And once you have a wallet, you can do your transactions. Internally, that I'm talking about nationally and internationally. Let's talk about this because it is the same cyber transaction, which, if care is not taken, cyber criminals can actually take advantage of. And before you know it, you lose so much. Is the central bank doing anything to reduce this?
Like this, the central bank said they've made the site as secured as it can be to them, and I believe that they will be working round the clock, because that is that is what we are seeing. The more the owners of this site are working to protect them, the more also the criminals, the cyber criminals, are developing hacking programs.
Alternative means.
Yes, alternative means of breaking down the securities of those systems. So it means that the central bank would have to work extra hard monitoring that site to ensure that the security remains at a high standard at all times, so that Nigerians who do transactions on it would be secured. Of course, that also depends on if the individuals involved do not disclose their sensitive information out there, in which case, no matter how secure the site is, there's nothing that can be done.
Yeah, just to draw an analogy, criminals always want to be ahead of the authorities.
Yes.
I give you an example. Before now, Nigerians were mainly suffering, when we talk about road crimes, were mainly suffering armed robbery. People who come to your house and rob you using arms. That was armed robbery. When technology provided a means of doing or going about your business without cash. Whereas you can go to a bus terminal buy a ticket without carrying cash. You travel without carrying cash. And if you and I were on the bus together and I wanted to give you money, I could just do transfer. That became a problem for the criminals. They were not getting enough money from armed robbery. And so what did they revert to? Kidnapping. So with cyber crime right now, we need to be careful because with the criminals always want to be ahead.
Yes.
With the criminals knowing that this thing is not going to be easy, at least stealing money from it, they are going to find alternative means.
Please, can I shock you?
Yes.
Criminals actually go to armed robbers.
Yes.
Actually go to the homes of the people they want to rob with a POS terminal.
They do. Yes.
Yes. They will.
They do. No, I've had such. I mean, many such experiences.
And they will actually go there. They will say, "Bring out your ATM cards."
And you can't deny.
And you cannot deny it.
You must have an ATM.
Of course, and then at arms with their arms pointed at you.
Yes.
They will say, "Insert the pin."
Yes.
And then they will keep withdraw.
They even do it in cars, in the taxis.
Yes,
They do it in.
yes.
They do it.
Yes. So it's not just about kidnapping. And I begin to wonder who gives out POS to
The people
people
pretend
dubious
to be people can pretend to be
businesses.
genuine business entities and go there and get those POS machines. And before you know it, these guys are something else. Anyhow, we need to be careful.
Yeah.
And look, there is no way you can say you have 100% protection against criminals.
Yes.
No way. I can give you an example. The most prominent cryptocurrency, let me not call the name, but the most prominent cryptocurrency we know, I hear, has been hacked. But they were able to settle that person who was just trying to prove a point. Look, this thing is hackable. I hear that thing has been hacked. So it's something you do online. This is the smarter person that or the more knowledgeable person that takes the day. So these things are always something is always on the line, and we need to be careful. So on the part of the federal government, especially with the CBN behind e-Naira, there is need to make sure that they invest as much as possible in protecting individual Nigerians from such criminal elements. On the part of banks, they need to invest more. But then on the other hand, for individuals, we need to make sure that we conceal our identities as much as possible. There is no need being careless about these things, because if you are careless and you want to later on blame the banks or the other stakeholders, it's
your money would have been lost.
Your money would have been lost. You may not find it because
you won't. You will not.
So when you find somebody asking you for this, in fact,
asking you for your ATM PIN,
yes,
or asking you for the
BVN, your
or,
card number,
or
all
for
of
the,
this.
CVV at the back of your, without the PIN.
Yes,
having that CVV number, the 3 digits at the back of the end, it also makes it. They can use that to transact a lot of
yes.
online transactions.
So it's really an important topic that we've discussed today. Viewers need to take it seriously. As a matter of fact, it's something that is growing. It's not reducing, it's not abating, it's growing. So that's the way we want to call it today. We want to draw the curtain on today's edition of Money Radio. So it has been good having you on the program again today. I hope you are enjoying your holiday, if there is for you.
I'm here, so
To you, our producers, we say thank you very much. But our biggest thanks go to you who loyally follow us on this program. It's always a pleasure having you, and it's because of you we are here. Until we meet tomorrow for another edition of Money Radio, I've been your host, Keith Hammond, and the message from Leadership TV today is happy holidays. Have a great day. God bless you.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.